All right, let's solve word problems using algebra. We've done word problems before in this class, but now we're going to solve them using algebra. And you are probably going to think to yourself, I can solve these without algebra. And you're right, because these are introduction problems. But the beauty of using algebra is it allows you to solve problems that are way too hard to do without algebra. So I need you to practice using algebra and don't solve these any other way. All right, let's get started. You went to Target and bought a book for $12.99, a bag of M&Ms for $3.25, and a bag of dog treats. The total cost was $22.49. How much did the dog treats cost? All right, our first step is, oh, that's unfortunate. Right. Our first step, that was just too long. Let's start over. Okay. All right, so we are solving word problems using algebra. We've solved word problems before, but we never used variables before, and now we're going to. And these problems are not super hard. So you might think to yourself, hey, I could solve this without using a variable, but then you won't learn how to solve problems using a variable. And we're going to work our way up to problems that are way too hard to solve without a variable. So please make sure you solve these the way I ask you to, so that when we get to the harder ones, you're all set. You went to Target and bought a book for $12.99, a bag of M&Ms for $3.25, and a bag of dog treats. The total cost was $22.49. How much did the dog treats cost? All right, so the first thing we need to do is define a variable. We're going to follow these same steps for every problem. Before we use a letter in our problem, we want to know what is that letter standing for, and that's defining a variable. So first thing you're going to do is pick a letter. I'm going to pick D for dog treats. And I'm going to set it equal to what this is standing for. Now remember, we picked a letter to represent something we don't know. Don't say D equals the cost of the book. The cost of the book is $12.99. I'm not going to pick a variable for that. I know the cost of the book, right? We want to pick a variable for the thing we don't know. And the thing we don't know is almost always the thing they are asking for. They asked, how much did the dog treats cost? We pick a variable, that is the cost of the dog treats. Got it? So that first step isn't hard. You're just defining a variable that represents the thing you don't know, the thing they're asking you for. Okay, so that's the first step. And then you need to write an equation, and we're going to use the variable just like it's a number. A lot of students write an equation. I will even show you. They would do 22.49 minus 12.99 minus 325, and all that is going to be equal to D. Well, you're just doing this elementary school way. You did all the math and then you set it equal to the variable. I won't accept that. That's not using algebra. You're not learning the lesson if you do it that way. What I want to see is an equation that tells the story. In the story, you never subtract, right? You went to the store and you bought a book that was $12.99. And you bought a bag of M&Ms. Well, when we buy more than one thing, that's adding, right? So let's add the cost of the M&Ms. And you bought a bag of dog treats. You never subtracted because you're just adding things together. You're buying more and more stuff, and we have a total that's going to be after we add everything up. So go ahead and add the cost of the dog treats. The cost of the dog treats is D because we said it was. We can pick any letter we want. We can make it equal to anything we want, and we can use it in the equation just like it's a number. Okay, that's the equation I want to see. This equation tells a story. We went shopping. We bought 3 things. We add those 3 things together, and it's equal to the total. And we used that variable just like it's a number. Okay? And then our next step, shouldn't be surprising. Oops, too far. We are going to solve the equation. So to solve this equation, the first thing I want to do is simplify it. So I am going to add 1299 plus 325. Which is going to give me 1624. So 1624 plus D is going to be equal to 2249. Okay, and then we are going to isolate D. So let's add negative 1624 to both sides, right? To eliminate this term. Now I don't think about money. I'm just following my rules of algebra. Positive 1624 eliminates negative 1624, and I get D all by itself. And on this side, I get oh, that is interesting. Sorry, little technical difficulties. On this side, I get $6.25. Actually, I get 6.25. So that's the solving the equation part. After I've solved it, then I need to write my answer with units. And do you know what can help you write your answer with units? Your defined variable. You might forget in the process of solving. Sometimes the solving takes a long time and you forget what any of this was, but you have your definition here to say it's a cost. So since it's a cost, its units are going to be dollars. So we're going to make 625 into dollars. Okay, and then we have one more step for you. And that is reading the problem one last time to make sure your answer answers the question. A lot of people skip this step. Oh no, back up. A lot of people skip this last step, but you don't want to do that. This step really helps because sometimes you've done all the math, but then you need to do one more step to get the answer. So you went to Target, you bought a book for $12.99, a bag of M&Ms for $3.25, and a bag of dog treats. The total cost was $22.49. How much was the bag of dog treats? The dog treats cost $6.25. We're good. See, it's not that bad. You can do this. All right, let's move on to our next problem. All right, you spend 45 minutes at the gym. You rode the stationary bike for 32 minutes and then lifted weights. How much time did you spend lifting weights? All right, let's look at the question. That's going to help us define our variable. How much time did you spend lifting weights? All right, well, I think I might use W then. So W is going to be equal to the time spent lifting weights. That's what they want, so that's what I'm going to give them. So now we have to write the equation. Oh, I'm not clicking on my steps here. So we defined a variable. And now we're going to write an equation using the variable like a number. So we spent 45 minutes at the gym. So that's the first thing they told us. You rode the stationary bike for 32 minutes and lifted weights. So we did 2 things at the gym, and there's an and between them. So that and is going to tell me that I'm combining 2 things. So I'm going to combine the time with the weights plus the time on the bike. And that's going to give me the total amount of time. So this is an intermediate step that you can do if you want, so that you can lay it all out and then worry about what would we write in for each of these terms, okay? You can write the terms as words. I call this a sentence equation. So the time spent lifting weights, that's W, because we said it was W. The time spent on the stationary bike is 32 minutes, and the total amount of time at the gym is 45 minutes. Another thing to check after you've built your equation is to make sure that the units for every term are the same. So W would be minutes, 32 would be minutes, and the total would be minutes. So minutes plus minutes equals minutes. All the terms are the same. All right, now you want to solve the equation. We're going to solve for W by adding 32 to both sides. Actually, negative 32. We're going to add a negative 32 to eliminate this positive 32. Those are opposites, and they'll eliminate each other. And we're left with W. And 45 plus negative 32 is 13. So we've solved it. And then we want to write our answer with units. 13 what? Well, W says time spent lifting weights, but time could be seconds, time could be minutes, time could be hours. So I'm going to just look at the units of all the other terms. 32 was minutes, 45 was minutes. So 13 has to be minutes. So 13 minutes spent lifting weights. And then our very last step. Nope, went too far. Head back for me. Read the problem to make sure you're answering your answer answers the question they're asking. We said 13 minutes. They asked, how much time did you spend lifting weights? So that is correct. Okay, let's look at this next one. Keisha babysat for her neighbors 9 times. She earned $76.50. How much did she get paid each time she worked? Okay, so again, the first thing we're going to do is define a variable. And the variable we're going to define is what they're asking me for. How much did she get paid each time she worked? So if they're asking me to figure that out, she must have gotten paid the exact same thing every time she worked. So let's use P is equal to the money she was paid each time. Okay. So each time she worked, she got paid P dollars. She worked 9 times and she earned $76.50. This equation might be a little bit harder. This doesn't look like a total, right? And these aren't the same units. So I'm not going to add 9 times and $76.50 together because they're not the same units. So it's not an adding problem. So let me think about what about the first time that Keisha worked. So if she went and babysat for 1 day, does everybody see she'd get paid P dollars? Because that's how much she gets paid each time, right? What if she went and worked for 2 days? She'd earn another P dollars. And for 3 days, she'd earn another P dollars. She's getting P dollars for each day, right? So do you guys all see that if she worked for 9 days, I'd have 9 P's, P plus 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 P, or 9 groups of P. So the amount of money she earns is 9 times or 9 groups of P dollars. And we know that's going to be equal to $76.50. Keep forgetting to use my little thing on the side here. So that's the equation using a variable just like it's a number. Everybody with me? Okay, so then after that, we want to solve that equation. Well, we know that when we're trying to isolate a variable that's being multiplied times a number, we need to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 9 so that I can cancel the 9 and I can get P all by itself. All right, on the other side, feel free to use a calculator on these. I am. So I have $76.50 divided by 9 is equal to 8.5. So 8.5 is my answer. Okay, now write your answer with units. So 8.5 is my answer. I'm going to check back and see what was P in the first place. P was the amount of money she got paid. So that 8.5, I'm actually going to change that to $8.50. I'm going to make it look like money and put a dollar sign in front. Now, does my answer the question they're asking? So the question was, how much did she get paid each time she worked? She got paid $8.50. Okay, are they getting easier? Let's do one more. You have some fresh, hot Krispy Kreme donuts. After sharing them with your 3 friends, you have 3 donuts. You each have 3 donuts. How many donuts did you start out with? Okay, so this one is sharing. And sharing is usually division. We'll check it out, but I'm leaning towards division for this guy. But first, before I try and make an equation, I'm going to define a variable. They're asking how many donuts did you start out with? So that's going to be my variable. The answer to that question is going to be, I'm going to use x this time. X. X is equal to the number of donuts I started with. Okay. So I started with some donuts and then I shared them. And then we each have 3 donuts. If you are having trouble coming up with an equation for this, you could draw some donuts. We don't know how many to draw because the thing I don't know is how many donuts I started off with. And I'm sharing these donuts. So there's me and my 3 friends. So let's draw my 3 friends. 1, 2, 3. So this is a tricky bit. Is how many people are sharing these donuts? 4 people. It's very tempting to think 3 people, but it's you and your friends. So I'm going to take these donuts and I'm going to pass them out to everybody, right? So that is dividing. You're taking something and you're dividing it into groups, 1 group for each friend. So I'm going to start with the donuts I started off with, which is X, and I'm going to divide it. I'm going to divide it by 4, or I could even write 3 plus 1 down here. I'm going to divide it to give donuts to each of my 3 friends and myself, because come on, if you've got some hot Krispy Kreme donuts, you think I'm just going to give those to my friends and I'm not going to eat any? That doesn't seem likely. All right, after I'm done dividing them with my friends, each one of us has 3 donuts. So the solution to this division problem is going to be 3. Got that? Any questions? Pictures sometimes help. Give pictures a try if you're stuck on a word problem. Okay. Now I need to solve this equation. So I'm going to put a line through my equal sign. First thing I'm going to do is simplify, right? So I'm going to simplify this denominator, 3 plus 1. I'm going to simplify that to 4. Yeah, that long division bar kind of implies parentheses. Now I have x divided by 4. I want the inverse of dividing by 4. I'm going to multiply by 4. And by multiplying by 4, I get a 4 in the numerator that I can cancel with that 4 in the denominator, which gives me x all by itself. And 3 times 4 is 12. All right. Write your answer with units. So x equals 12. but I've spent so much time doing algebra, I don't remember what 12 is. So I go back. 12 is the number of donuts I started with. Oh, well then I will put donuts as the units. 12 donuts. 12 what? 12 donuts. All right. Now, did this answer the question they asked? Because when we get into more complicated things, they'll be like, you gave 3 of them away, or you ate 2, how many do you have left, right? But this just says how many donuts did you start with? And we started with 12 donuts. So that is our answer. Thank you for your attention. Have a lovely day.